Hello and welcome to the watch along. It is time for the big one, Ospreys against Dragons. It is a Welsh derby. I'm an Ospreys fan. I've got my Ospreys top on. I'm not going to be in the middle today. I'm not going to be favourable. I'm not going to be fair to either side. I'm an Ospreys fan. I want Ospreys to win. I'm absolutely buzzing for this one. Even though it's the Rainbow Cup, even though there's no South African teams involved, I'm absolutely buzzing for this. And there's one reason for it, and we'll get to that in a second. But hello and welcome to the watch along. If you're new here, do hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like on the stream, get involved in the chat. Don't forget there's an option of a super chat if you want to support the channel financially. Again, as always, no pressure to do that at all if you don't feel able to. A few of you already in the chat. We'll get to some of your comments in just a second, but let's get straight to it. Let's welcome my guest this afternoon. Should we let him in? He's a Blues fan. Should we let him in? Oh, go on, let's let him in. It's Ben from Rugby. Ben, how you doing, man? You ready for this?
Well, mate, I was absolutely bouncing for this, and I'm just giggling to myself now because you introduced it as the Ospreys versus the Dragons. So that's straight away. Oh. We're off with a bang. But yeah, mate, we're happy to be here. It's going to be a hell of a game, regardless of whichever side wins, because we both agree that this means absolutely naff all. But at the same time, we both want our teams to win. We've got a bet on the line. So at the end of the day, I'm pumped, ready for this game.
Absolutely. We have got a bet on the line. So the bet is very simple. If the Ospreys win, Ben has to wear an Ospreys shirt in the next video we do together. While if the Blues manage to get a win, let's hope not, then I will have to wear a Blues top in the next video that myself and Ben do together. So that is the bet. As always, let me know in the chat where you're watching from, who you're supporting, who you're wanting to win. Obviously, Ospreys against the Blues. This is it. We're ready for it here. Let's get to some of your comments before we look at the team. We're not far away from kickoff at all. So let's have a look. Sean is in the chat already. Benetton won against Glasgow. That's something Glasgow need to sort something out. Your thoughts on Benetton? We were speaking before, just before we came on air. God, Beastie and Haywood, what a performance from them.
Yeah, I think we both said that we fancied, we did both say actually that we fancied Benetton to get a win at home. I don't think either of us predicted the fact that Benetton were going to run away with it in the way that they did. But yeah, that's a fantastic win for Benetton. And like I just said, before we came on here, it's good to see for Benetton because although they didn't get a win in the league this year, they did have a good run in Europe. I know that Europe was condensed a lot this year, but that's a massive, massive win for them against, if you look back a few seasons ago, probably one of the best sides in the Pro 14. So, yeah, massive win for Benetton and fair play to them. You never know. They might be pushing themselves forward in the Rainbow Cup now.
Yeah, I was really impressed by them. Lots of you already watching, so make sure you've liked the stream. It really helps get the stream out to others who are watching. So it's Ospreys against Cardiff Blues. Ospreys, of course, finished third in Conference A, while the Blues finished fourth in Conference B. Di Young at the helm. No Dwayne Peel, obviously, going to be joining next season. He's heading over to the Scarlets, but can you blame him? I mean, who wants to go down to the Blues? Let's have a look at the teams then. I'll take you through the Ospreys team. The banter started already. This is what we want to see. Let's go through let's go through the team. Sorry, I'll go through the Ospreys team, and then Ben's going to take us through the Blues team because the Blues have rotated so much. Well, not loads, but they have rotated to an extent. So this is how the Ospreys line up this evening. Starting with the fullback, Dan Evans starts out. Fullback George North is on the wing with Owen Watkin and Kieran Williams in the centre. I'm really excited to see how they get on. Matt Prothero is on the opposite wing. Young Josh Thomas plays at 10. Excited to see how he gets on. He's played some really good stuff when he's been given the opportunity. Aubrey plays at 9. Morgan Morris is at 8. Tippick at 7 as the captain. Ethan Roots joins the starting lineup, and for his debut, signing from the Crusaders, the 23-year-old New Zealander joins the region. Davis and Beard are in the locks with Rota, Ivan Phillips and Nicky Smith completing the front row, meaning that Sam Parry, Leigh Henry, Bradley Davis returns to the squad after being out for 5 months with injury. Sam Cross, Ruben Morgan-Williams, Hawkins and Kai Evans. Your thoughts as a Blues fan on that team? It's a pretty strong squad, if we're being honest, isn't it?
Absolutely cacked myself when I saw Tipuric and North in that side, not going to lie. But, you know, there are a few new faces in that Ospreys lineup as well. And, yeah, it's a great opportunity, like we both mentioned in the build-up to this. You know, it's a great chance to blood new players, to bring players through, like you mentioned, with the guy that's come across from New Zealand. You know, it's a great chance for them to get their foot in against the side they'll be playing in the Pro 14 next year. But, yeah, as a Blues fan, you saw that team come out and you thought, uh-oh, panic stations. But, yeah, you know, new guy at 9. Haven't heard anything about him, so it'd be nice to see how he runs out tonight. But like we mentioned, big games tonight for the likes of Joe Thomas at 10. The Ospreys haven't really got a definitive follow-up to Stephen Myler at the moment, so it'd be good to see whether he can put his hand up and take that jersey should Myler be unavailable, because we don't know when Anscombe's coming back just as yet. But yeah, nice-looking team and definitely an exciting-looking team. I love Matt Prothero. He is such a good player, and he's one the Blues will have to watch out for.
Definitely. We will get some more of your comments in a second, but Ben's going to take us through the Blues team. There's a lot of unknown names, so Ben's going to take us through, explain a little bit about who they are and what we can expect from them.
Yeah, so the Blues have gone for a little bit of rotation this evening. Like we mentioned, it's a perfect opportunity to do so. So starting with the front row, we've got Rhys Gill, the captain, Kirby Myhill on his 65th appearance for the Blues in the middle, and Kieran Azarati locking out that front row at tight head. In the second row, we've got the two probably the most consistent performers for the Blues this year in Ben Murphy and Rory Thornton, who will captain the line-out. Interesting decisions in the back row. So we've got Gwilym Bradley coming in, when he's been given his opportunity this year, he's played really, really well for the Blues. And Alan Lawrence at 6. James Ratty with a first appearance for the Blues at number 8. This is his 22nd appearance, but his first playing at number 8. Moving into the backs then, we've got Lewis Jones and Jason Tovey at 9 and 10. A very exciting centre partnership for any Blues fans watching this evening, with Max Llewellyn and Owen Lane moving away from his wing position into the centre to accommodate on both wings Jason Harries and Hallam Amos. Jason Harries having a superb game against London Irish in the round of 16 knockout game against London Irish. And for me, the most exciting decision here, Ben Thomas is starting at fullback. Played a lot of 12 and a lot of 10 for the Blues this year, but this is his first appearance at 15. I wonder if that's the Matt Sherratt approach that we're seeing already, which leaves a bench of Liam Belcher, Rhys Carey, Will Davis-King, Teddy Williams, a promising prospect down at the Blues, Ollie Robinson, Ellis Bevan, Dan Fish, and Emmanuel Fei-Waboso. If there's one thing you do in the next year to 18 months is watch out for this guy, because I've seen the stuff he's doing with the academy and the guy is electric.
Yeah, really excited to see how this Blues team gets on. Ben Thomas at fullback, I think, is a fantastic talent. I think he's really exciting. We've seen him play at 10, but he's very comfortable at fullback as well. So we're very, very close to kickoff. Lots of you watching. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the red box down below. It's free to do. And like the stream as well. This is not an actual showing of the game. It's live on Premier Sport 1 right now. But we're doing a simple watch along here. There's a lot riding on it. The bet of the shirts is on the line as well. Make sure to check out Ben's channel as well, Rock and Roll Rugby, making some great content over there. Okay, guys, in the chat, get your predictions in. It's time for the predictions. Ben, being honest, what are you saying here? What's the score going to be? All the pundits on the TV have backed the Ospreys to win this one, some closer than others. What are you saying? Surely you've got to back your region, or are you actually a Blues fan?
Yeah, mate. Even if they were playing, Zebra, I would still back my boys. The Blues are going to come out tonight. They know there's a lot on the line, but Dai Young has given these youngsters the opportunity to express themselves and to play some rugby. And I think that's what we will see tonight. I think it will come down to which side controls the game the best. And you've got to say, looking at the both pairs of halfbacks, the Blues have got the more experienced halfback pairing. But as well, the Blues have got 3 playmakers in our back line in Max Llewellyn, Jason Tovey and Ben Thomas. So in terms of attack, the Blues could cause the Ospreys problems, but they've got to keep the likes of George North quiet because otherwise it could be a very long afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. I've got to back the boys. I've got to back the boys to get the job done. I think we're going to win. Of course. I don't think it'll be as much as people think. Looking at the 2 teams that have been picked, there's enough quality in that Blues team to cause us a lot of problems. We have to be understanding of that. And also, we have to have the platform to play. There's a lot of young players in there today who maybe get a little bit too excited and think we can play from here, we can play from there, we can play from absolutely anywhere. You just got to be patient. Thomas at 10 needs to control the game, needs players around him who are experienced, so in Watkin, George North, Matt Prothero, to really be around him and mentor him throughout the game, really. But it should be a great game. I'm going to back Ospreys to win by 5 to 10 points. Do you have a score prediction for us? I'm going to say 27-22 to the Ospreys.
Cardiff Blues 633, Ospreys 0. Oh, sorry, do you want my actual opinion? Oh, right.
Great to have you on the channel, Ben. We'll see you next.
Yeah, I'm going to go Blues by 3 to 6.
Okay, Blues by 3 to 6. Get your predictions in the chat, guys. We've just kicked off down at the Liberty. So the Ospreys in their traditional black, while the Blues play in their away kit in their white. We've just kicked off here. Perfect conditions for rugby as well. Some of you already asking about the Benetton game earlier on. Great game of rugby. We spoke about that just a little bit ago. And Benetton have always flirted with the ability to do that, but it's not really clicked for them this season. But good to see them getting some of the win. Let's see who's in the chat. Gregor, hi. Hope you are doing well, mate. Good to see you there. Who else is there? Luchube, good to see you as well. Good to see you'll be playing your first game of rugby tomorrow for a long time. Really good to see that. Ospreys here on the front foot early on. Kieran Williams getting a lovely offload to Dan Evans. Kieran Williams.
Right? So the Blues have just had a penalty in the first couple of seconds of the game. And Lewis Jones has tried to tap and run from just outside his own 22. Like, I know that they've been told to go out and express themselves, but my God, that's a stupid thing to do early on.
Yeah. Henry Morgan, try again, mate. That's horrific once again.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I read that one as well, Brandon. I was going to draw your attention to it, but yeah, that's poor. That's poor.
If you're going to get me, it's got to be a decent. George North is playing. We can see him playing, so that's not even going to work.
Are you a fan of League of Their Own, Brandon?
Yeah, definitely. Good show.
Did you watch it Thursday?
I didn't know. I've not watched it yet.
Oh, mate, Freddie Flintoff caught Marco Pierre White with an absolute boot. They're in a cooking challenge, and he said, "What are you going to make with the fish turbot? With the fish, the turbot then?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going to make a pie cost." And he went, "Oh, what's a pie cost?" He went, "Oh, about £1.50." that one, that's probably a better standard than. I can't even read that out. That's bad.
Yeah, it's awful. It's got to be better than that. Scrum just over the halfway line inside the Blues half. For me, the Ospreys today, really excited to see how Kieran Williams and Owen Watkin play together. I think Owen Watkin, for me, fantastic this season, but Kieran Williams, really exciting young centre. Would you be looking to take him on the summer tour?
For me, mate, I think he was unlucky not to get a call up in the Six Nations. I know we did a video on it just after the Ireland game when we saw Johnny Williams pick up that injury. I think it was a head knock at the time, and we were looking at what potential options would come in. Obviously, Halaholo was the guy that was given the call up, but we both said that Kieran Williams is probably one of the most exciting talents in Wales at the moment. Yeah. And I think if he doesn't go on the summer tour, then I don't really know what they're doing, because I think at the moment, even though we've got the big names in the centre for Wales, you know, Jonathan Davis, George North, Halaholo, Owen Watkin, I still don't think Pivac is settled on his centre partnership. So I think Kieran Williams, if he does go on this summer tour to Argentina and Uruguay, he'll definitely get a real opportunity there to put his hand up and say, pick me for the first team. But yeah, he should be one of the first names on that summer tour. There'll be a couple of players that are playing tonight that really need to start proving themselves. Nicky Williams, he hasn't really had a sniff under Wayne Pivac. Likewise, Rhys Carey, apart from that game he played out in Dublin in the Autumn Nations Cup, where he had an absolute schooling from the Irish pack. But yeah, it's definitely an opportunity to see some of these players that either brink players or even players that we haven't seen at all yet. But yeah, interesting as long as the tour goes ahead. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Ospreys have just won the penalty at the scrum. So we are going to go for the posts here. It's a heck of a distance, 45-odd metres.
Just while he's lining it up, we're talking about kickers, but I can see Freddie's down in the chat. Mate, if there was ever a schooling of 10 versus 10 this afternoon, Dan Bigger showed George North how to play a game of rugby. Not George North. George Ford out to play a game of rugby this afternoon. Dan Bigger, mate. He is in the form of his life at the minute. And I genuinely do think it's the Northampton effect. Yeah, it's just off to the left.
Yeah, he's just missed that one. But I think Bigger's playing back in form now, ahead of the lines. And that 10 shirt is up. It's up there. You know, whoever you think probably, you're looking at Sexton, Finn Russell and Bigger, maybe Ford as well. But for me, you don't even take Farrell on the tour, but he's more than likely to go. So Bigger's really pushing for contention at 10. Who would be your starting 10? Would it be Bigger at this point?
I've got to be honest, in terms of the way that I think it's very much dependent. He looks very good at the moment with that Northampton backline, and I think it's the game that Northampton play that allows him to express himself in the way that he does. But I don't know. There's a kick out on the full there from Ben Thomas, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a line out to the
strange
Osprey.
one. I don't know. I didn't see how that one came about. But yeah, sorry. So for me, starting 10, if I go with what's obviously going to happen, you know, Gatland has got this affiliation with Sexton. He's been on 2 Lions tours with him, and he knows what to expect from him. I'd like to see him go with, for me, I would like to see him go with Bigger. I think you can't ignore how well Bigger is playing at the moment. You know, Finn Russell is great, but I don't think you start him. I think composure-wise, he showed in the Six Nations this year that he goes missing during games. You know, there's periods where he finds it really difficult to get into it. But yeah, I think Bigger has probably put his hand up enough, I think, to at least warrant a start. He'll definitely go on the tour. And I think the warm-up games, considering there's not a lot of them, I think the warm-up games are going to be vital, especially in that 10 jersey of who puts their hand up to start in that first test.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positions up for debate. Ospreys just outside the 22 of the Blues here. Solid defence from the Blues. And Ospreys just going through the forwards here, recycling.
This season, I think the Blues... I thought that was a turnover then. I think Alan Lawrence has got his hands in the ruck there. You know, obviously, I didn't think the ruck was formed myself, but yeah, he's given that.
The defence looks really solid, though. Looks really solid.
If you look at the defence in the Pro 14 this year, mate, that's one thing that the Blues have prided themselves on. They came out as the best defence in the Pro 14 this year. And in my video I did where I looked at the Gallagher Premiership as well, if you put them in the Gallagher Premiership, they had the best defence as well. So It's definitely something that they are proud of, but I think we've talked about this time in time out with Pro 14 sides. They rely on defence far too heavily, and we don't see enough creativity. They're happy to just let sides attack, and then just look for that opportunity on the counter. And if you look at the backs the Blues have picked today, I mean, if Owen Lane catches a loose ball today, he's gone, mate.
Yeah, exactly. We've gone for the corner here, so the line on the driving maul is set.
Matt Prothero's in there, adding all his 4 stones soaking wet. But it's moving well here. Blues are concerned. And Ethan Phillips is over.
Get in! Ospreys early try. I was questioning the decision to go to the corner because I was like, this is an easy 3 points. But the power, the thing is, that's what we're built on. We're built on power. We're not going to throw the ball out. We're not going to try and play like the Scarlets or the Blues to an extent. We're just going to go through the phases. I'm going to take opportunities when we can. And we draw first blood in this one. 7.5 minutes gone. Ospreys leading 5 points to 0. And you played, obviously, as a forward when you played for the Dragons Academy. How difficult is it to stop a driving maul? Because a lot of people think, well, just push back. But it's not as simple as that, is it?
I think, especially in the modern game, if you look at driving mauls and the success of driving mauls, you're talking all about the shape. And if you look at the Ospreys then, that wasn't necessarily the greatest shape. They were quite compact. So, if you had someone like a Maro Itoje, his arms are coming up and over the top of that there, and he's trying to steal that ball. But usually, traditionally, the longer your maul can be, the better it is. And obviously, you need to be your players to be adjusting as they come in through that maul as well. But Ethan Phillips there, for me, I think he's really going to be pushing for a Welsh place before long. Ken Owens, with the greatest of respect, he's probably coming towards the end of his career now. But for me, I think Elliot D and Ethan Phillips are the way forward for the Welsh side at the moment. And I really like this kid. Not only that, his arms are enormous.
It's good. Thomas missing the conversion, Wadley missing it. Sean says on Sexton for me, too many head knocks to Leinster, trying to get fed up with it. Rossburn and Highburn do very well with Leinster. Agree. And tonight we're going to be doing Leinster against Munster watch along after this one. So kickoff for that is at 25 to 8. So we'll go live about 20 past. Harry Byrne is starting for Leinster. So interesting to see how they
Harry
get
Byrne
on.
is starting.
Yeah, they picked Harry Byrne.
So see, we talked about that, didn't we? On our preview video that we did. I like Harry Byrne a lot. I think he's a really exciting talent. Matt Prothero has done no favours for Joe Thomas here. He's just completely got in his way and he's fallen flat on his face.
I love Matt Prothero. He just gets involved. Doesn't matter about the size of him. Doesn't matter if it's a massive number 8 running at him. It doesn't matter. He's going to put his body on the line. Sorry, mate. What were you saying about the Blues?
I'll go back to what you were saying there. What other Ospreys player that played in that 11 jersey do you remember that didn't give a crap about how big he was or how big the opposition was? He was always going to try and put people on their asses.
Yeah, exactly. And he's in the commentary box today and dances around players for fun. One of my childhood heroes. I used to think I was like him. Quickly realised on a wet Wednesday night in an away game, it really wasn't for me. So, realised that very, very quickly. The game isn't really that open, a bit cagey, a lot of little mistakes, but Ospreys dominating possession so far. And good to see we're recycling the ball well. That's something that, I don't know.
Blues turnover, I think you made. You just said about that. Oh, my God. Owen Lane has just absolutely fluffed it. That's a stinker. Surely it was a knock-on in the build-up, though.
I'm not too sure. I'd like to see that back.
But yeah, you got to give the respect to these two sides, though, that they haven't played a game since their knockout games in Europe, which were 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah, a month ago. Yeah.
So they've only been able to simulate games in training and things, and that only gets you so far, mate. You know that as well as anybody else. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting start. Poor O'Kieran Williams is dying to get hold of that ball, but he's just fallen flat on his face trying to get it.
I'm pretty sure that the pass to Kieran Williams was forward.
I thought so as well. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to upset you, mate, because I do realise that you wear Osprey tinted glasses.
Wait, I'm looking at your glasses now. There's a bit of blue over the glass, so I don't know what's going on there.
Mate, right? I'm up at my mate's house this weekend.
The wall is blue, everything's blue.
Literally coming up, the walls are blue. This is the best place to ever come to do a Blues watch along. Everything is blue tonight, mate. Got the polo on, up for the boys. I laughed the other day. We were having a sort out in the house and sorting some bits and bobs out. And my brother said to me, "Oh, are you ever planning on wearing this Osprey shirt again?" I said, "Only if the Blues lose on Saturday." Only if.
Secretly, Ben's actually an Ospreys fan. He just does this, so like it winds me up. But secretly, he is actually an Ospreys fan.
Blues scrum is having a lot of joy against the Ospreys pack here. I think Nicky Smith is having an absolute hiding at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit. First chance though for Blues to build. Good run there from Llewellyn.
He's a big boy, mate. I've stood next to him a few times. He is a big boy. His dad, well, to be fair, when your dad is Gareth Llewellyn, former Welsh second row, and I don't think I've ever seen a taller second row in my life other than Chris Wyatt, former Welsh star. But yeah, he's been unfortunate with the Blues. A lot of injuries. When he's been given his opportunity, he's suffered from a lot of injuries, and that's sort of like given him the difficult job then of actually trying to maintain any form. But the Ospreys looking to counter. Matt Prothero with a lovely break.
Lovely. Can he get there?
Oh, he's got through. Oh, good covering tackle there.
Really
Will
good
and Bradley.
Wide. One more, surely. Oh,
who on earth? Who does Adam Beard think he is?
That forward on, it's how Watkin.
Hang on a sec, mate. I need to plug my laptop in.
All right. I'm not too sure what happened there for the Ospreys. Matt Prothero bursting through the gap beautifully. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Sexton is rested for this evening after his head knock. Tom Neal says, wouldn't be surprised if Sexton was taken purely for leadership. Did play well in the last Ireland game in the Six Nations. I actually thought he played really well over the course of the Six Nations. So I was a massive fan of Sexton. The head knocks and the injuries are a concern. You got to say, what happened here? No, Owen Watkin just simply ran out of space there. But Osprey showing the ability to get the ball wide there. A little bit of space. Prothero, for me, he's a fantastic player. A really good signing for us. Little knock here for one of the Blues boys.
Yeah, Azerati looks like struggling with something with his shoulder there. But yeah, I love Matt Prothero. I said this when you were going through the teams, mate. Matt Prothero, for me, in the next 2 or 3 years, he's definitely going to feature within the Welsh side. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I honestly think he will. So 15 minutes, nearly 15 minutes in, how do you assess this opening 15 minutes for the Blues, first of all, and then for the Ospreys? What are your takeaways for you guys so far?
I think the one thing, you can't say a lot because the Blues haven't had a great deal of ball at the moment.
Yeah.
And what the Ospreys have had, they've done really, really well with it. A lot of mistakes from the Blues, but as with any game at the moment, you've got to try and find your feet. Like we've said, this game is the first time they've played in over a month, so there's going to be that settling in, that bedding in period of the game. But yeah, I want to get your opinion on a player, mate, because for me, it really bugs me, right? What's your thoughts on Adam Beard? You're trying to be diplomatic now as an Ospreys fan, because obviously you're thinking the same thing I am.
He's okay. He does a job. I think Corey Hill's better. I think Corey Hill should be starting alongside Alan Wynne. That's the way I view it. His height obviously is a brilliant thing. He can disrupt at the maul, things like that. Good option at the lineouts. Don't see what he really offers in the loose. If you look at Corey Hill, he's scored a couple of very important tries for Wales over the past couple of years. Adam Beard, for me, went through a spell as well when he was really playing poor for the Ospreys. I think he's an average player, if I'm totally honest. He's okay, and he does a job for the Ospreys. But for Wales, I think there are better options in that lock position. I think Corey Hill, again, that leadership thing of Corey Hill. If Alan Wynne goes off, Corey Hill is on. He's captain Wales, he's obviously captain of the Blues. So yeah, I think he's a class act, Corey Hill. Adam Beard, when he came through, a lot of excitement, but now I think people are beginning to realise where he actually is as a player, which isn't a bad thing, but he's just levelling out as a player. He's still young. I think he's like 24, 25 maybe. So he's still a young player.
I'll be honest, mate. I think he's up against it when the guy that's next to him at the Ospreys, who's had no international experience whatsoever, in my opinion, is better than him. I think Rhys Davies at the moment, especially during the international period, the games I watched of the Ospreys, they were so good. Because they clawed themselves out of a big hole against Benetton down at St Helens, and I think Rhys Davies was one of the big things that got him back into that game. So, yeah, it's definitely a difficult. I think second row is one of those things, and we always say it because of Alan Wynne-Jones. Obviously, he's going to be going at some point. But don't cry, Brandon. It's okay. It's okay. But we know. But now, after the news the other day, we know it's not going to be for a while. Lovely chip there. Go on, Hallam Amos. Go on, son.
Good tackle. Was he out?
Nope, he's in. Even if he was out, he's in. And that's what Ben Thomas gives you, bud. That's literally just off the outside of his boot.
Turned over. It was a lovely little chip at the top. And then
just off the outside of the boot, he just drops it onto the outside of his left boot there, and he just puts Hallam Amos in so much space. I think that'll encourage the Blues, though. And I don't know if you've noticed it as much as I have, but I think from most phase play, Ben Thomas is first receiver.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the play is going through him, and I don't know whether that's a tactic the Blues are going to play as the game goes on. But you look at the greatest sides that have ever managed to do it. You look at Bowden Barrett for the All Blacks. Yeah. His best position is at fly half, but he played quite a few caps, especially during the 2019 World Cup at fullback. So, modern sides now, in terms of their attacking structure, they'd like to have that second playmaker somewhere on the field. We've seen it with Toulouse this year. They've played Cheslin Colby at 10 a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just because they want to try and move that key playmaker into another position.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people in terms of YouTube at the minute, they've done a lot of analysis into fly halves. I think I've seen a lot of videos looking at George Ford, Marcus Smith. A lot of players looked at Jared Evans as well, and what is the perfect mold for a 10 at the moment? And I genuinely do believe that for the perfect 10 at the moment in World Rugby, they need good players who can play make outside them. Yeah. And I think I genuinely do believe that's how Gatland's going to go with the summer tour to the Lions. I think he is going to have someone in that back line who is going to be a second playmaker, which makes me believe, especially considering that Gregor Townsend was apparently told before the tour was even announced that he was going to be part of the coaching setup. Maybe the decision to play Stuart Hogg at 10 in the Italy game makes sense now. But we'll soon see. We'll forget about Lions talk now because the Blues have just had a scrum penalty given against them again.
So you're saying Ben Thomas for the Lions? Always good to hear a Blues fan on.
I did not say that at all. I said Ben Thomas to captain the Lions. Get it right.
Oh, of course. My bad. No, I really like Ben Thomas. Him at fullback as well as a playmaker is a very good option. It makes it a bit more of a fluid system for them. And he's already shown today that he's very capable of creating chances. Ospreys with a maul that is stagnant.
I was just going to say, this ain't going very far.
No. And I think they realise that and send it up for the box kick. Is it too much? Oh, it's perfectly weighted. Amos kicks it back.
That's the only thing.
Is he he's a very versatile player, but do you think that plays against him?
Yeah, he just kicks the ball far too much, in my opinion. He is not an out-and-out winger, because if you look at the likes of Louis Rees-Zammit in the Six Nations, just as an example, goes looking for work, and when he gets his hands on the ball, he's looking to attack, and he's looking to try and put people under pressure. I think the majority of the time when Hallam Amos gets his hands on the ball, his first option is to kick, because he has got that awareness of how the game needs to be played tactically as well as experimentally, and trying to find those gaps. I think he's another, not so much the same sort of caliber, but I think he's another James Hook in terms of the fact that he doesn't really know what his position is. Is he a winger? Is he a fullback? Maybe his position is better further infield, but who knows at the minute. But Kieran Azarati, I think that's his third penalty he's given away so far this game.
Yeah, he needs to be careful. Of course, though, one of the big things in the Rainbow Cup this year, as Sean points out, see if one of the new laws in the game. So the first one, of course, is the captain's referral. We saw that in the Benetton game for both teams. Decided to have a look. The first one was didn't count, so they lost then their right to challenge once again. And then Benetton challenged one with a high tackle, and so they got their captain's referral back. Your thoughts on that decision? Are you happy with that? Is it going to become a bit of a moaning fest, do you think?
I think because each team has only got one, I don't see it being a problem. Especially if your captain is respectful of the decision as well. Yeah. I think when we saw it in the England-France game, Charles Olivon, he was very respectful in the way that he asked the referee to have a look at a certain incident. But yeah, it's turning into a bit like tennis, isn't it? You know, we can get the challenge the call. Hopefully it doesn't manifest to anything more than one per game, because I think, like you said, it could become a moan fest then. But I'm not against the decision.
No. And then the other one, of course, the one that I struggle with personally, is this whole orange card thing where 20 minutes off, player cannot come back on, but you can bring a replacement on. For me, how do you define what isn't a red but what isn't a yellow when the laws have been set to determine what is a red and what isn't a yellow? It hasn't determined to have any space in between. That's
great turnover, Gwilym Bradley there. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Great turnover. Gwilym Bradley's got in on that ball there, and he ain't getting moved off it.
No, really important there, because the Ospreys were building momentum there. And it's still only 5-0, so the game is very much in the balance, although the Ospreys have dominated this opening 20 minutes, really. But for me, with that orange card as such, I'm not a fan of it. But you're in agreement? It's a bit stupid, dangerous maybe as well?
Yeah, especially like if you, the way I always looked at it, especially with these new rules that have been brought in, is put them into context of things that have already happened. So, for example, you go back to the Six Nations game with, let's say, France and Scotland. Then we won't talk about the Welsh ones, because obviously people get very upset about that, because apparently Wales buy red cards. But if you look against that game, right, Finn Russell, he gets red carded at the 51st minute, which meant that if it was something that they could replace after 20 minutes, they'd have had a fly half on the field for the last 9 minutes of the game. In reality, they lost their fly half for the rest of the game because he led with an elbow into like a forearm raise then. I think you have to have clear definitions of, if it's a red card, that is a definite red card. You don't get the opportunity to replace that player. However, if it is a red card that some people view as being harsh, then you give the orange card. That's where I see it being more sensible. But at the moment, especially if this happens in the Pro 14 now, imagine tonight now that Gwilym Bradley gets a red card for the Blues and the Ospreys are behind. You consider that an opportunity to start attacking. But then 20 minutes later, we bring Ollie Robinson on. To me, it doesn't make sense.
No, I think it's dangerous more than anything. That's the way I see it. I think it's dangerous. You know, it's almost saying like you can kind of get away with doing the things that would would deem to be a red card usually. I think it's ridiculously dangerous. Good kick there behind from the Ospreys, line up to the Blues in their own 22.
Here's an interesting one for you, right? So I was watching Leicester and Northampton earlier on, right? Matt Scott, Leicester inside centre, for me, clearly leads in with a shoulder, makes contact with a head. Goes to the TMO. The TMO says he has made direct contact to the head of the player. There's no mitigation whatsoever. Referee gives a yellow card. And even in the commentary box, Austin Healy, and I don't agree with everything he says, but he genuinely hit the nail on the head. He said, the TMO has said the key words. There's contact with the head. He's led with the shoulder. There's no mitigation. And then it gives a yellow. So I can see what Freddie said. I don't know how that was a red, but you listen to what the TMO said. Contact with the head, led with the shoulder, no mitigation. If you look at all the other instances where those have been given as reds, why is that a yellow? I just don't get it at the minute. And I think so many referees have got so many different conceptions of what the laws look like. That's the biggest problem players have, because If we look back at one of the videos, as the Blues make a break here, Hallamemos chips through, but player offside. Oh,
go on, Prothero.
Oh, mate, he absolutely loves it. He's like having a park day, field day in there, isn't he?
Yeah, it's odd that the Blues are kicking so much with the background.
Considering they haven't had any amount of attacking ball at the minute, they're just giving the Ospreys the ball to play. I don't know whether this is something that Dai Young will have wanted, but if he is, I don't know what his thinking is, because this is ridiculous. We haven't built any phase play whatsoever. But yeah, back to that point there, I think red cards serve a significant purpose in the game. If somebody is given a red card, that means that they've committed an indiscretion, which deserves the highest form of punishment. Yeah. I know that within the game at the moment, people are being a little bit more skeptical on whether they are red cards or not. But the ultimate decision is, if that player is given red, that's it. That player should leave the field, and the team should be down to 14. And I think that encourages players then to start to think about their tackle technique, start to think about whether they lead with a shoulder or not. Dan Evans is through here, ran away from his support there then. I'm surprised, because Kieran Williams looked like he was screaming for that.
Quick ball.
But Ospreys building nicely. Kieran Williams on the outside. Good tackle, Owen Lane. Oh, straight off the feet, ref. Thank you very much. That's so silly. Who was that then?
I think it's the new man.
He literally, you watch this on the replay now, he comes off his feet at speed. That is ridiculous.
If he gets contact with someone there, he's in a lot of trouble.
You think about Xander Ferguson. He came in at speed, caught the wrong part of a player, and that was it. But yeah, look at Matt Prothero. When he gets a step going and he's away, he loves it, doesn't he?
And we're really confident today with offloading, which is good to see. And I think the message from Toby Booth would be, look, we want to win the game. We want to do fairly well in this competition. But, also go try things, go do things. Dai Young has spoken very openly and honestly this week about that the Blues are going to rotate. They're going to try new things out, see what works, see what doesn't work. But so far, the game's been pretty open. Both teams going for it. I mean, the weather's perfect for it. I mean, I don't think Swansea sees sunny weather. So,
As we know, mate, the sun doesn't shine in Swansea. It only shines in Cardiff.
Oh, right, okay.
In the Arms Park. Imagine if this game was being played at the Arms Park rather than the plastic stadium the Ospreys play in. I mean, God, we talk about the Ospreys can't fill the stadium. Look at it, mate. Look at it, mate. The Ospreys haven't got one fan in the seats today. Like, they just can't fill the Liberty, like.
Do you know what? If you're down at the Arms Park, it'd be full, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely full today. Good turnover again from the Blues here.
It would be bouncing, mate. I would be banging the boards. I'd be shouting at the referee, usually. Right. Bring up Ian9460's comment, because I was totally in agreement to this. Why on earth are we still having to watch Tubby at 10? He's absolutely...
Toby's a weird one. Like, he was at the Dragons for such a long time, wasn't he? Go on, Dan Evans.
Knock on. Go on, pick it up. Give a penalty away.
Toby, for me, at the Dragons, very, very solid. Did very well there. But he offers nothing except for experience.
Go on, Lane. Choo-choo. The Lane train is off. Oh, that's a superb covering tackle. But Hallamemos on the outside. Back inside. Oh, this is lovely rugby. It's like sevens now. We're just chucking the ball around and hoping for the best. Kirby Myhill through the middle. Great counter-attacking rugby from the Blues.
Defensive set now for the Ospreys.
Just build now, okay? And this is the big problem. So many times the Blues get attacking go-forward ball and it goes to slow ball before we know it. Yeah. Lewis Jones doesn't help that either, but yeah. Oh, seeing Owen Lane in full sprint then. Oh.
That's the thing. It's the same with what we saw with Sam Simmons yesterday for Exeter 8, having that more athletic player, that more pace from those positions where they're very comfortable in the loose. I mean, for me, Sam Simmons has to go on the Lions based on last night's performance. He was absolutely ridiculous, scored so many tries this season as well. But great to see Owen Lane there. He's been frozen out with Wales a lot, hasn't he, recently? When was the last time he got a cap?
I think it was in the World Cup warm-up game against Ireland in the Millennium Stadium, which he got a try in. We'd just add that. But after that, he's had a success of injuries. He went to the World Cup when he was named in the World Cup squad, picked up an injury, came back to play for the Blues. Then a few months later, picked up another injury. So it's really unfortunate for him, but hopefully now he can start building towards some form. I think he's one of those players that will definitely go on the summer tour because he's had experience in camp before. Yeah. And I think he's a player that suits Pivac's style of play. He likes to play open, expansive rugby. We're seeing him playing at centre tonight, which is a strange one because I don't think I've ever seen him play 13 before. But when you think about it and the way that the game is going, it's a really good opportunity for him to put his name down and say, look, I can play 13, no problem whatsoever. Give me the ball, I'll just run.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a lovely break from him there. The game really has opened up over the past few minutes. Welcome to the watch along, by the way. Still 5 points to nil, half an hour gone. If you're new and you haven't yet done so, hit the subscribe button and like the stream as well and get your comments in the chat as always. It's been a really entertaining game so far.
I've enjoyed it, mate, I'll be honest. Even though we haven't scored a point yet, it's been a good game of rugby.
Yeah.
That looked for,
forward from Ben Thomas there.
This is the one, if you watch modern sides today now that play this intricate passing behind the back before attacking, right? It looks great. But you've still got to engage players and you've still got to bring those players onto you. Yeah. If you look, even if that pass is not forward.
Very, very flat. Very flat.
If you look at that, even if that pass doesn't go forward and Will Harries gets the ball in space, he's got 6 Ospreys coming straight after him because they haven't been engaged. If you look back last night at the Exeter game, Exeter, every time they play the ball, they throw 2 or 3 options at the person who's defending the ball carrier.
Yeah.
They throw 2 or 3 options at. There's only one person that's getting the ball, and 9 times out of 10, that ball is being passed further out again. But you are engaging those defenders because they do not know who is getting that ball. For the Blues, then, they were making really nice runs, Owen Lane running out to inline, Max Llewellyn starting to drift out. Looks great. If you don't engage any players, it's never going to work.
And all the defence then needs to do is just drift across with the play. Just keep drifting across, and it makes it so simple there. But no, open game, 10 minutes to go until half time. But only 1 try in it. Blues have really grown into this game over the course of the last 10 to 15 minutes or so.
This scrum is an absolute mess, though.
Have a word.
The scrum is appalling at the minute from both sides, really. Kieran Williams is in. There
we go. Lovely try for the Ospreys. They'll probably check it.
Living off the Blues' mistakes.
They're going to check this.
And games in Swansea always go this way. If the Blues get behind, if this try is given now and they go 10, maybe 12 points behind, this is where the Blues will start panicking because they don't cope well with coming from behind. We did a watch along for the Blues Edinburgh game, and in that game we saw the Blues. It took them 45 minutes to even start playing. If you try and do that against this Osprey side, they'll be gone. Yeah.
Well, we're going to watch this back. My initial reaction was try, so it's touched in the air off the box kick. That's fine. Is there a knock on?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Oh, is he looking? I was just going to say, even if he's looking for offside, I don't think anybody's offside there. The only thing is, what does Ivan Phillips do so that Will Harries does not collect that ball?
Does he have enough impact there?
Here he comes. Here, I don't think he touches it. I think that's a perfectly good try. Kieran Williams showing a good turn of pace there as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a try for Ospreys. I think Ospreys are going to take.
Given.
There we go. 10 points to nil to the Ospreys. A very fortuitous try, you would have to say, for Ospreys there. Let me update the scoreboard. Big try before half-time. Come on, get this conversion now. Just give us a bit more breathing space.
Yeah, he's struggled off the tee as young Joe Thomas so far. That's a better kick. His kicking style is really strange because if you look at every kick he's made so far, they start to drift off to the left every kick he makes. I don't know what it's like. He's got his pitching wedge out.
Yeah, it's an odd one. He looks stiff when he kicks it, doesn't he? It's not fluid. It's not easy. But Ospreys take a 12-0 lead here, drawing towards half time. But it's been a very, very entertaining game. Just a reminder, later on, Leinster-Munster watch-along going live at about 7:20 for that one. Interested to see how that goes. Both teams are picked side, so
here we go. Good scrum here. Send an option up in the midfield. Send either Max Llewellyn or Owen Lane up. And, yeah. What's Sean said there? I think...
Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Sean says, I'm thinking what should happen for Autumn Test is a 3-test series, like what the Northern Hemisphere does. Southern Hemisphere in the summer tour. I've heard people talk about this. Again, Autumn Test, they're money makers. At the end of the day, they're money makers. You know, if you can fill the Millennium for an All Blacks game, half of them won't care about the rugby. They just want to see the haka. That's the reality of it. And yeah, it's just it is literally just a money maker, the Autumn Test. So that's how I see it. Canur Quenan is in the chat. Some results for Benetton absolutely outclassed Glasgow today. Not sure what's going on with the Scottish regions. I mean, Edinburgh yesterday were losing against Zebra at one point. Another penalty at the scrum for the Ospreys.
Azarati is having an absolute stinker today.
You've got to send him to the bin.
I think that's his final warning now, and I think the Ospreys will look. I think the Ospreys will look to try and this is where sides have got to be really professional now in thinking this player is on the last warning. We've got to try and exploit that and show him up.
Yeah, you go to the scrum.
It's a good touch finder as well. Oh, he's missed it. Bent and kick straight back. But yeah, on the Autumn Test thing, I remember when the Autumn Tests were the Southern Hemisphere playing the best. The Northern Hemisphere playing the best Southern Hemisphere sides they had to offer. I remember once going to watch South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand all within one Autumn Test series. And they, like you said, they're money makers. But as of recent times, the Autumn Tests have been changed slightly. You know, we saw Wales play Scotland in an Autumn Test a few years back for the Doddy Weir Cup. We've seen them play Samoa, Tonga, Fiji. You know, and as much as it's great to see those guys coming through, in terms of Autumn Internationals, I agree with Sean. I think if somebody turned around and said, right, Wales are going for a 3-test series in the summer against the All Blacks, and then South Africa are coming up to play a 3-test series in the autumn, for me, that's my money's gone. I've bought tickets to all 3 tests.
Yeah.
Because if you imagine a Lions tour was in this country now, this summer going ahead now, like, should there not have been COVID restrictions, I was going to do absolutely everything in my power to get a ticket to go and watch the Lions against Japan in Murrayfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and as because the hype you build around it, if you're playing, you know, Tonga on a Friday night, who cares? Like,
I think the thing with
the scrum for the Blues,
it's
is he going to get a penalty from it? Oh, he's just reset the scrum. If that's the Ospreys the other way around, that's a penalty there.
He's always going to go with the dominant side, though, isn't he? I think the thing with the Autumn Test, you need to get the balance. Yes, you want to get your big teams there, but again, we have to be mindful of, for Tonga, Samoa, or Fiji, or Japan, or Georgia coming to play us, it benefits them more. And I think because of the position we're in, we should be okay with that and be willing to do that. But with the other ones, you want your New Zealands, you want your South Africa. You know, if you could get New Zealand, South Africa, and the Aussies this autumn, and you put in a Samoa or Fiji in there as well, I'd be very happy with that as an Autumn Test. Although Australia aren't as good as they used to be, but you know, New Zealand still quality. South Africa, the world champions, and will have just played a Lions tour. So
I think in terms of world rugby, though, I think you've got to look at. And especially, you know, you talked about it the other night when you talked about the financial side of rugby. I think for me, for it to work, you look at sides like Fiji. They come across to play in the UK. In terms of time difference, you're not going to get the global participation levels that you would. For me, to get the game to grow, you need to see players like, for example, South Africa coming across to Europe was always going to happen in terms of time zones. And seeing Fijian sides going into Super Rugby, that is a fantastic move. But you need to see if they are going to make these cross, there's teams coming into different tournaments. They have to be mindful of what's the global success rate they're going to be. And I think Fiji playing Wales on a Friday night. How many Fijians are actually going to tune in to watch their team play on a Friday night? It doesn't make much sense.
They'd be all in bed, wouldn't they? Anyway, so it wouldn't make any difference for them.
And you think about for us, though, I think back to a few years ago when Wales played the 3-test series in the summer against the All Blacks. Those games are kicking off at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. But even as a Welsh fan, you still get up and watch it. But I would love to see the actual percentage. If that's a 5 o'clock kickoff in Cardiff, that's getting millions of viewers without a shadow of a doubt. If that's a 6:30 kickoff, you're getting maybe a couple of 100,000 in comparison to what it could potentially be. I just think they need to be a little bit mindful.
Yeah, more mindful of when the games are on. Maybe, I guess the best thing for Fiji, Tonga, Samoa is that a Welsh team head over there. I mean, I know that Ireland are meant to head over there this summer for their tour. Whether that will happen with the restrictions and everything, of course, it's not going to be the Irish's top team, but it's going to be a fairly strong side because I don't think all that many Irish will actually go on the tour this summer. You'd think people like Stockdale would probably play. Cooney, I don't think will go on the Lions tour, but maybe for Ireland will get a go. So there's a lot of good players going to go on that tour, and hopefully that will help grow the game. Blues moving forward well here, but then that's been knocked on. Come on, that's just so obvious a knock on at the breakdown there.
Is it a knock on or is it an Ospreys turnover that they've let go of? I couldn't work that out looking at their first off then.
I felt
but the touch judge surely has got a clear view of that. I know it's a little bit further across the pitch, but this is where the touch judge has got to come in and help out there.
Yeah.
Lewis Jones trying a little sniper on the outside. Hi, maybe when you were about 10 years younger, mate. But it's nice to see the Blues throwing some phases together. Yeah. But again, the Ospreys' defence is so well marshalled. This is just easy pickings for them. And again, mistakes on the outside. Is that a scrum? Yeah, of course it is. See, that the first opportunity the Blues have had to throw phases together, and then it's a knock-on. I mean, this game could quite easily get away from the Blues now. If the Ospreys get another score before half-time, I think the Blues are going to struggle to get back into it. And I'm going to have to get that Osprey shirt out of the wardrobe.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that.
Do you know what, right? I can see you having to clip this up now because you watched the Blues come out second half and do an Edinburgh.
Oh, let's hope not. Let's hope not. I mean, the thing is, though, it's not comfortable for us. For all the dominance we've had, our defence looks set. You've had one or two opportunities, but it's not done. I think if we get another try, it makes it a lot more comfortable, means the Blues have to come out and play. We'll give the likes of Prothero a little bit more space, people like that. But I don't know.
Mark my word, second half, we won't see Tuvey come back out.
Do you not think so? Who would be replacing him?
Ben Thomas moves to 10. Hallam Amos moves to fullback, and Waboso comes on. There we are. I've just called it.
Interesting to see.
Just because I think for the Blues at this point, they've got nothing to lose. They haven't fired a shot yet. And I think they've got to try something different. If it means bringing on a player that's never played for the region before, if Waboso comes on, it'll be his first appearance for the Blues. And so what? It's a mix. The Blues win this game. I'd be happy for the Blues, but I wouldn't be screaming about it like Brandon Smith that has just seen Leinster throw away a lead against the Ospreys. I'm not going to be bouncing around like that. However, I would rather see more players coming through. Dan Fish might come on as well. Oh, see, another penalty at the scrum. He's got to send him off here.
Come on, have a word, ref. That's 5?
Well, unless it's the other side of the scrum. The only thing I can see is that it's reskill this time, and that's the only thing that's saved old Azarati this time.
Well, 30 seconds to go until half-time. We will take a quick break at half-time, but then we'll look at some stats and have a chat about the first half and the Rainbow Cup in general. So it is nearly half-time. A last chance for the Ospreys to get something from this first half to go even further ahead, hopefully. I mean, the hope for us here. So we go through a few phases, a mistake from the Blues and go for 3 points. But it's been an entertaining first half. How do you summarise it for the Blues and for the Ospreys? What are you thinking? Because the Blues, for me, have just kicked possession away so much, which I don't understand why.
The way the Blues have come out and played this game, you would swear that it was a knockout game in Europe. You know, they've kicked for, and the Ospreys are going to score just before half time. There we go. For me, that's game over. That's game over.
For the Ospreys.
Sloppy in the backfield for the Blues, and that was what I was going to say then. That they've played the game tactically, whereas the Ospreys have played creatively, and that's been the biggest difference.
Ospreys taking a 17-point lead here. Let's have a look at this. It's fortunate.
Yeah, lovely try. Two fortunate tries, you have to say.
Yeah, it is two fortunate tries, but we're taking opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
And the 2 points are added, so it is half time in this one. Before we go for a quick break, what will be the message in the dressing room, do you think, for Dai Young? Will it be just try and retain some possession, just go through some phases, or just try something?
Keep ball in hand. Try to just cause some problems for the Ospreys, because they haven't at the minute. Anything they have tried, the Ospreys have soaked up and lapped up and absolutely loved it. So second half, cause them some problems. Try and throw some moves together. Try and throw some plays together that are really going to try and confuse this Osprey side. Because at the minute, this could be a 30, 40 pointer at this rate.
Yeah, it doesn't look too good for the Blues, but for Ospreys, with a big smile on my face, we are leading this one. It is 19 points to 0 at half time, but I don't think the scoreline truly represents how the game has gone. And we are going to take a quick break here on the channel. It is half time in this one. So make sure that you have liked the stream, that you've subscribed as well to the channel here. I will drop a link to Ben's channel in the chat as well. Do head over there during this break. Subscribe to his channel. He's making some great content. So make sure to head over there. He's a Blues fan. They're losing. Just be nice to him, you know. Go subscribe to his channel. Help a guy out. And help him out there. Right, we're going to go for a quick break here on the channel. We'll be back in a second to discuss that first in a little bit more detail as Ben goes to drown his sorrows. And
drown something, mate. I gotta go.
All right. We'll be back in a second, guys. So there we go. It is half time in this one. Ospreys leading 19 points to nil. I do think we expected an Ospreys win, but Ospreys leading this one pretty comfortably. And Ben's about to get his Ospreys shirt out ready for the next video. And let me welcome Ben back in. Ben, mate, it's not ideal, is it, the way it's going so far? But you've got to say the Ospreys maybe deserving this win so far. It's always interesting what Ben's got to say, especially when you can hear.
Sorry. No, mate, I'm not saying any such thing. I don't think the Ospreys have had two opportunistic tries, we'll call them. But got to say, just before we go on, because you just messaged me in the private chat, I've only just noticed it. Thank you very much, guys. 20 subs now. Absolutely smashing it. And I got my own fan club tonight outside watching the stream, mate. So big shout out to Dave, Liz, Tina, and Phil watching the game. Hope you're having a good time, guys, and I'll be out there as soon as I can. I can hear them cheering. Here we go. They're behind the Blues. Merthyr through and through. We don't want to support the Ospreys. We're Blues through and through.
Supporting the Blues with his Blues tainted glasses. He'll have to get the the Ospreys top side out to the cupboard pretty soon, it looks like. But really entertaining first half. Who's caught the eye for you for the Blues? For me, Ben Thomas and Owen Lane have looked really good so far.
Isn't it crazy to think, though, that the players that I would probably pick out, similarly to you, the players that I would pick out as being the best and most exciting in the first half are on the losing side. Yeah. I think Ben Thomas has looked good. Owen Lane has looked really, really exciting. Gwilym Bradley has showed up really, really well. But two big mistakes, a charge down just before half-time and Matthew Aubrey goes over. And the try just before that with Kieran Williams as well, another one that they thought it could have been a knock-on. So it's just one of those ones at the minute that I think, like what we said before, the Blues just haven't got a foothold in the game. They've kicked too much ball away. I would like to see second half Ben Thomas start to move further forward and take up that 10 role and allow more play to go through him. Because like we see, with the chip that he put off the outside of the boot, he finds opportunities. He's very much Finn Russell-esque then almost. He finds those opportunities. He finds those spaces on the pitch that you wouldn't normally see and you wouldn't normally expect a player to see. But yeah, Ospreys-wise, I was looking at it. I don't think until that try just before half-time, George North touched the ball.
We haven't mentioned him once, have we? We have not mentioned him once. And do you think that's... Because it's interesting that obviously Wales are playing him in the centre. He plays on the wing for the Ospreys. Do you think maybe centre is his position now?
I think it is, mate. I think in terms of Wales, it's definitely been the revival of his career. I think if we look in terms of wingers, we saw Louis Rees-Zammit coming up and through. We saw the likes of Owen Lane doing really well down at the Ospreys, Johnny McNichol. There were wingers coming through and through, and George North was definitely under pressure to perform. But there was definitely an opportunity for him in the centre, and Pivac has moved him across, and he's made quite a successful transition, we've got to say. For me, I think that means that he is actually more selectable for the Lions now than he would have been probably a year, 18 months ago.
Yeah, he can play a multitude of positions, which is really important. And although if he was to play for the Lions, he probably wouldn't start at centre because of the other options. Certainly someone you can have in the midweek tests. Let's have a look at some stats from this first half, and we'll have a look at where the game is being won and lost so far. So let's have a look at these. So as you can see on your screen, tries scored 3 tries for the Ospreys, 2 very fortuitous ones, you'd have to say. 1 very well worked at the start of the game. Ospreys with a little bit more possession. Clean breaks is pretty similar. Defenders beaten 6 defenders to the 1 of the Blues, which is a little bit on the surprising side. Both teams looking to offload, which is good to see. In defence, you can see there Ospreys dominating territory and, well, Blues really not playing in the right areas of the pitch. And that shows from, well, they're constantly kicking it. They're not taking the ball. They're not moving the ball forward. Ospreys, interestingly, have made more tackles than the Blues and a very good tackle success rate, 99% there. Blues, though, at the breakdown, have had a lot of success with the turnovers, haven't they? 5 turnovers won, really winning that battle so far. And you'd have to say that's been really impressive. You can see there, Blues kicking a lot more. Penalties considered 6-4 for both regions. Blues may be lucky to be still at 15 men, do you think, with a scrum?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you look at the terms of the first half that Kieran Nazarati had, he's definitely lucky to still be on the field, mate. I think the only thing that saved him was the fact that Reece Gill gave that penalty away just before half-time. So I think second half now, if you are Dai Young now, you're probably going to look to bring on some front row replacements prior to the second half starting, because especially the way the game has gone, the Blues are 19 points down. They need to get a foothold in the second half, and they're not going to be able to do that with 14 men on the pitch. So they've either got to be sensible, and Dyer's got to really get into those forwards and say to them, look, this is what's going wrong. This is how we fix it. And they've just got to fire more shots. That's the bottom line of it. First half, the Ospreys have, and we saw there, the Ospreys have had to make more tackles than the Blues.
Yeah.
But we've had less ball. We've had less territory. So that'll be encouraging for the Blues to think that, the Ospreys have had to work harder in defence, slightly. There's not many tackles in there. But the Ospreys have had to work harder for what they've got so far. So if this second half is going to be successful for the Blues now, they've really got to start to get this game by the scruff of the neck, tell those forwards to really start carrying hard, putting the ball in the right areas so that the backs like Max Llewellyn, Owen Lane, Hallam Amos can start attacking and start firing these tries off.
Yeah, definitely. Second half has just kicked off. Just a reminder, this isn't an actual viewing of the game. It's just simply a watch-along, but it is live on Premier Sport if you want to check it out. But the Ospreys leading 19 points to 0, and I think we're both in agreement. The only reason I really want the Ospreys to win is so that Ben has to wear an Osprey shirt, but also because it's a derby, bragging rights, all that kind of thing. But for the Rainbow Cup, we're both in agreement that we want to see the regions experiment. I mean, the Scarlets have put a really strong side for tomorrow's game against the Dragons, which shows an element of respect towards the Dragons. And the Blues, once we saw the teams, I think, if you're being totally honest, the Blues could do something in this game, but it was always going to be likely that the Ospreys would pull away in this match. But I think the Rainbow Cup, do you know what? I've been impressed so far. I thought the Benetton game was really enjoyable to watch. Connacht dramatically won in the last minute against Ulster. And then we've got Leinster-Munster tonight. We've got Dragons-Scarlets tomorrow, which I think will be a really good game to watch. So far, I've been impressed by this Rainbow Cup. I don't know what you're thinking on it.
I just think if you look at especially the Connacht-Ulster game last night, the sides are going in with this attitude that there's not a lot on it. There's this plastic cup that's been, announced, the Rainbow Cup, even though it's just a rebranded Pro 14 now. Good break for the Blues here. Go on, Jason Harries. There's a good carry there. Ivan Phillips is in the way there. He's done well to get out of there, to be fair.
Well done, lad.
Oh, see, that's what I was talking about in the first half. Jason Tavy has pulled that pass in there, and nobody has been drawn onto it whatsoever. George North has just looked at it and gone, right, I'm just going to drift out to the winger then.
Yeah. Next score, you think, is really important in this one?
Yeah, the Blues got to get points, mate. If they're down in the 22 now, whether it's a penalty, whether it's a try, they need to come away from here with points. And they're starting to go through the phase play, which, if you look at how they got back into that Edinburgh game, the last game of the Pro 14 campaign, is how they got it back into the game. They started going through the phases, actually getting their forwards to carry ball, because in the first half, I haven't seen Reece Gill carry the ball. I think that's probably one of the first carries I've seen him do. Yeah. They've got to start picking their socks up and saying, look, right, let's get into the right areas of the field and give our backs a chance to score. Lewis Jones has got to be quicker with his deliveries as well, though, because the Ospreys are getting so much time to set. And when you've got a defensive maestro in Justin Tipperick, he's just going to lap that up all day long.
Yeah, exactly. You need quick ball. Interesting question here from Kenneth Quaynan, who asks on our thoughts on Owen Lane.
Turnover.
Great turnover. Thoughts on Ronan O'Gara again, the top job at La Rochelle. Very mixed feelings about this. I think that's a brilliant appointment, and for him to continue in that role. La Rochelle played some brilliant rugby. Quietly have gone from being a mixed team really in the top 14. And I think they only got promoted about 5 years ago to the top 14, if I'm correct in saying that. They play some brilliant rugby. They don't have mega stars in their team as such, except for Bottier at centre. But all their players do a job and do it well. And the way he speaks about the game is really impressive. And I honestly think he's lined up for the Ireland job after Farrell, potentially.
Well, I got to be honest, mate. When I saw the fact that he was coming towards the end of his La Rochelle contract, I thought that's where his next move was going to be. I thought he was going to be linked up with the Irish setup.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic coach. And to say that him getting the top job is a mixed feeling would obviously only come from someone that's not a La Rochelle fan. Because if you look at what he's done with that team, they've become a real prospect.
Yeah, I think they'll give Leinster a really tough game. They absolutely smash Sale. They absolutely smash them. And if the weather is good for that game...
Is it down in France?
I'd still back Leinster. It's out in France. I'd still back Leinster to win it. But I think it could be really close.
I think if you look at the main strength for both sides, it's their ability around the breakdown. Not only their ability to turn ball over, but not also their ability to run the ball forward as well. You look against that Exeter game, Jack Conan was an absolute tank, and he just carried the ball for days. Against La Rochelle, he's not going to have the success that he had. He's going to come up against the likes of Victor Vito, and those sorts of players are going to stop him. Gregory Aldery, Antonio in the front row. Those players are going to stop those runs dead.
Yeah.
And in terms of the way that they protect the breakdown as well, it's very rarely more than one or two men just to secure that ball, and then they're looking to go again with the next phase of attack. The fact that Bottier, if we look back 18 months ago, Bottier was starting for La Rochelle in the back row, and now he's probably one of the most exciting centres in Europe. Yeah. It's crazy to think. But, yeah, I think that's going to be one hell of a game to watch. I think it'll probably be the pick of the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think it'll be a brilliant semi-final. For goodness sake, I'm in work on that day, so I'll be missing it, unfortunately, but watching the other French semi-final instead. Ospreys on the halfway line, 5 minutes into this one. George North has come a little bit more central so far.
If Matt Brother there's 4 Ospreys waiting to score that try. George North looks in pain.
He's holding his knee. This doesn't look good. He's looking in a lot of pain here.
Straight away, you can see in his face.
Well, that really should have been a try for Ospreys. There were 3 to 4 options out there.
Look at his face, mate. This is bad news.
This is really bad.
So what's happened here? Kieran Williams has made the break. Jason Tuvey is in no man's land. Watkin takes the ball up the outside. What happens here, though, with North?
Ball comes up. Right, where does he get hit?
He doesn't get hit. Hyper-extended knee.
Yeah, there it is.
He's step and his kneecap looks like it's just dropped.
Yeah, that does not look good.
Not hyperextension. It's gone the other way.
It's jolted, hasn't it?
Yeah, because if you look at it there, it just pushes out to the right. Mate, I don't want to say it, I don't want to jinx it, but think back to the 2015 World Cup. Think what happened to Lee Halfpenny. Yeah. For me, that looks exactly the same as what happened to Halfpenny.
Yeah, and it's always worrying when a player goes down when there's no contact around him or on him. That's always.
This is what we talked about. This is what we talked about, right? George North starting in a game in a Rainbow Cup, which means naff all, and now he's picked up this injury, which let's hope. He's putting some pressure on him walking off, but they've pulled him off straight away. Let's hope it's not serious because. For me, he was going on the Lions tour. He was one of my names on the team sheet.
We'll have to wait and hear some more info on how serious that injury is, but we hope it's not too serious. So that's going to be a blow for the Ospreys. So there will be a change for the Ospreys. We will look at the benches in a second as well, see who could come off. Ben could let us know a little bit about the Blues bench. And let's have a look at some more of your comments. Kind of commenting on Ronan Nagara says they know what Leinster are like. Ronan Nagara and how they play. I'd say that gives La Rochelle the edge. Also, I'm less interested in it since the South African teams were outdated because this league desperately needs something different. I agree with that. The South African teams joining as a one-off I like, but joining permanently, I'm not sure on it. I don't feel like the Cheetahs and the Southern Kings really worked. To be honest, the Southern Kings were awful, were horrific, were so bad. I mean, Dragons were putting 20, 30 points on them, so that shows how bad they were. But yeah, South African teams obviously having their own tournament on the side. Their first game is, I think, 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. So next Friday. I mean, that's not prime time TV, is it at all? So it shows how much that tournament's going to be taken seriously. Kai Evans is on for George North. So you'd think that...
he's giving a card here to the Blues.
Yeah, he's had enough, the ref. And rightly so. I mean, it's been a while. He's off.
And that's why I said, they're trying to get back into this game. Now they've conceded a yellow card to Kieran Nazarati in the 22. This, they get a try from this. The Blues are 26 points down.
Yeah.
Nazarati, you don't see a way back in. 6
penalties, is that against him?
I make it 5, but you might be right. I might have missed one. Yeah. I make it 5. I make it 5 penalties against him in the scrum. Yeah. And if Dai Young has got any sense, he doesn't send him back on.
No.
If you look in terms of the bench, you've got Rhys Carey sat on the bench, and if you look at Rhys Carey when he played at Saracens, Rhys Carey can play tight or loose head.
Yeah.
So, that's so frustrating though, because here we go.
Ivan Phillips at the back. Can he stay in?
He's not making his move yet. He's got it down. Up. Oh, is he? Oh, no, he was in the other arm.
Oh, he's been held up. We're going to have a look at this. My initial reaction, I think he might have just got it down. I'm not sure, though.
Well, I thought that until I saw the ball, the hand that the ball would have been in reach over the top, which would have led me to believe, I don't know. Absolutely shocking.
Let's have a look.
There we go. So, realistically, the Blues are looking at 25 mil by, I think.
On-field tries the decision, so...
Oh, well, we all know how that ends up.
Yeah. Really, they're looking for a reason they cannot...
I think he loses control of that.
I think he does as well. I think he slips it down here.
He tries to swap. He swaps hands with the ball. He's got it in that hand. Yeah, he loses control of that because he doesn't even know where the ball is when he's trying to ground it.
No, that's not a try. This shouldn't count.
Fair play to him. I think he swaps the ball about 4 times between his different hands.
Swap hands there. You should just have it there, have his arm ready, and then plonk over.
But you think about it. So if this gets given as a knock on, obviously it becomes a scrum to the Blues. If he gets given this as a knock, as a held up, is it start with a 22? And under the post dropout. Could we see the first one?
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious what the decision is meant to be now. Come on, ref. We've seen this now.
But again, I don't know if you've ever seen this ref before, because I certainly haven't.
No, I didn't know anything about him, to be honest. So he doesn't knock the ball on the ground.
If he gives this as a try, it's an absolute joke.
He's given it.
You are kidding me. That's the worst decision I've seen all season. He can't even work out what ball the hand is, what hand the ball is in.
His face. You just see his face.
Oh, mate, that's an absolute piss take. Sorry to swear on the channel, but that's a joke, like. This is exactly why the Pro 14 is the worst league in Europe, because the refereeing standard is shocking. Absolutely shocking. How on earth can you give that as a try? You can see him, right? He's got no control over that ball.
It's just not a try, is it?
Oh, mate.
Even as an Ospreys fan.
Stinker, like.
Even as an Ospreys fan, that's not a try. It's never a try. He's lost control of it. He hasn't even grounded it on the line. It's been held up.
He doesn't even ground it after the loss of the ball.
No.
Oh, my God, like.
That's a bad decision, isn't it?
If I'm Dai Young now, just dump the bench on. Chuck them all on, all 7 of them, or 8. Fair play. If Joe Thomas wants to put his hand up as the second in line, he needs to work on his goal kicking, because I think he's got 1 all night.
Yeah, it's not great. Thomas, watching
I'm trying to be diplomatic here. That's a stinker.
Let's watch it back one more time. Just see if we've missed anything. Right. But I'm pretty sure. Right, everything's fine so far. Going towards the line. He peels off the back here.
Right. Where does he ground it? Look at his face. That says it all. Absolute joke. Mate, that's the clause in the Osprey shirt. If the referee's been an absolute clown.
Nah.
Mate, Gethin Jones is with me. Gethin Jones thinks that was an absolute joke of a decision.
Yeah, no, I agree. Gethin, as an Ospreys fan, it's just not a try. It's just not a try, is it? And the referee's had an absolute mare there. You obviously have to remember the question he's asking. He's saying on-field decision is try.
But how? How is the on-field decision a try?
Yeah, it's obvious evidence that he's not grounded it, he's lost control of it, and also it's been held up.
I bet you any money, the referee makes some extremely questionable decisions in the next few minutes to get the Blues back into this game because he knows that he's cocked up on this.
Yeah.
Freddie, I can see you in the chat, mate. I'm moving to the Premiership next year. I'm going to support someone in the Premiership because I've had enough of the Pro 14. Absolute joke.
Yeah, a bit of a shambles from the referee there. I've never heard of him, so don't know much about him. Kenrick Lennon says, we know all of this for years. The refs are awful. We need more Joy Neville's, and we should have got JP Doyle. I mean, JP Doyle, yeah, out in MLR.
Yeah.
Out there, refereeing. I'm sure the money over there is probably better than what he gets offered in the Pro 14. Maybe those conversations would have happened, but it's just never a try that. And this game's certainly over now, but at 19-0, there's a sniff for the Blues. There's a chance, tiny chance. But at 24-0,
no.
You just pulls your way back now.
If we're talking the Ospreys of a season, 2 seasons ago, fair enough. I fancy our chances of trying to get back into it. Toby Booth has built a superb side here that are not going to be beaten from a 24-0 lead. The fact the Blues, with 50 minutes into the game, the Blues haven't scored a point.
No, exactly. Very true. Line out to the Blues then on the 22. They go for the long. Max Llewellyn comes forward.
This is where the boys are going to stand up here now and go, right, this is what we need to do to get back into this game, and we're going to do it. But look at that. Wow. Ben Murphy, that's the 3rd time he's knocked the ball on in attacking play. Take him off. Get Teddy Williams on. I'm sorry, he's had an absolute stinker of a game.
Yeah, nothing is flowing for the Blues at this point. Make sure if you're watching and you're just joining us, 24 points to 0 to the Ospreys. Very questionable. Well, it just shouldn't be the try for Ivan Phillips, really. Make sure if you're watching and you haven't yet done so, to hit the subscribe button and like the stream as well. Scrum to the Ospreys in their own 22. But yeah, let's have a look at the benches, actually. Let's have a look at the Blues bench. Take us through the bench. Who would you like to see coming on? Who should be given a chance? The game is lost, but who should be given a chance now, do you think?
Well, we've just seen the full front row come on. So Belcher, Carey, and Davis King have now come onto the field. I think Ollie Robertson needs to come on to sort out this attacking play, because the forwards that are interlinking in attacking play are ridiculous at the moment. They just can't handle the ball. I'd like to see Bevan come on, because for me, I don't understand why Lewis Jones is anywhere near the starting team.
Yeah.
He just shouldn't be there. And now we're having an absolute tune-in at scrum time again. But I mentioned it before, and I want to see Faye Waboso come on now. I just want to see someone come on that's going to cause the Ospreys problems, because we've lost the game.
What kind of player is he like? Because I've not seen much of him at all. What can he offer? What's he like? What's his play style like? Could you compare him to his player who's playing now?
I would say similarly to a Matt Prothero. He really does. The way he runs, he's so unpredictable. You just don't know where he's going to end up. You just don't know what foot he's going to step off, because he's comfortable stepping off both. And I think and I could be wrong in saying this, but from what I've seen, I think he can play across the back line as well. I've seen him play some games on the wing. I think I've seen him play some in the centre as well. So I'd like to see, if he comes on, where he comes on, because the Blues need something at the minute. Something is just not right at all. Well,
some more changes are coming. I think Dan Fish is ready to come on.
Yeah, the fish. Just keep swimming. Mate, the fact of the matter is,
somebody's off.
Do you know, as a Blues fan, right? And I wouldn't say this to you because obviously, of course, you'd rip me to shreds for it and you'd mention it all day. As soon as I saw Lewis Jones and Jason Tuvey were starting, I knew we'd lost.
Yeah.
I absolutely knew. And now we've lost our own line out as well.
This experience, but he doesn't offer anything creative. Jared Evans not playing today. Is that because he probably have an eye on the summer tour? Obviously, he signed a new contract, but
mate, Dai Young has just signed a new contract now, and realistically, the players that are within that squad want to put their hands up and start saying, "Look, this is what I can offer, coach." Why is Jared Evans not playing? In terms of minutes played since Christmas, he hasn't played a massive amount of rugby. No. And you look at what happened in that London Irish game in the knockout games of Europe, he was all out of sorts. He had no idea where he was, what he was doing. If I was him now, and I was a professional player who was being paid a lot of money to play the rugby that I am, I would be saying, look, I want to get out on the field and right the wrongs that I had in Europe. I want to actually play some rugby because considering since I've been in Six Nations camp, I haven't played a game for I played against Edinburgh. Why on earth are these players not putting their hands up and saying, I want to play for my club? And that's the biggest problem we've got at the minute. If you look at the Leinster sides, the Munster sides, every player that is in that team wants to be playing for that team and wants to be doing well. It just seems at the minute that players in Wales are far too focused on the national setup, whether they are a starting player, whether they're a bench player, or even if they're a fringe player, because everything seems to go through that. And you look at the Ospreys, I know George North has suffered what looks like a really uncomfortable injury, but you're entering a competition at the end of the day. The Blues haven't had any silverware for a few years now. They would have looked to have picked something up. And so far, they look like they just cannot be bothered. The Ospreys look far, far more up for it. Yeah. And I think that's much down to the mentality that Toby Booth is implementing down there.
Well, we heard in the week, didn't we? Dai Young's very openly and honestly said, look, we're going to rotate, we're going to experiment. And then you listen to what Graham Rowntree at Munster said this week, and he's like, we want to win it. We're going to go for it. This is a competition we can win. And you look at the team selection that they've picked. You look at the team selection they've picked a very, very strong team. Carberry, Deolandes all starting. They've picked a really, really strong side. Leinster picked fairly strong as well. I just think this mentality in Wales needs to be that, look, we're in competition. Let's go and win it. Yes, you want to rotate, but the Blues just rotated way too much today. Way too much today.
Not only is there the rotation, mate, but it's the fact that, Ben Thomas is playing 15, which I'm not against. I'm not saying for 1 second that Ben Thomas playing a 15 was a bad call. But what I am saying is, it's a position he hasn't played at. He might have played it in terms of the academy and the way coming up through, but he hasn't played at 15 for the Blues. Yeah. This is a brand new experience for him today. And in a game where the game is running away, you just saw there, the Blues get a first bit of attacking ball in the second half. And what does he do? Kick it through. It's not a ball to compete because it's that close to the touchline. Even if Dan Fish gets to that ball, he's going into touch anyway. Yeah.
The message is clear, though. We can see what the message from Dai Young has been. Is play the territorial game, get him behind, pin them back. As a player, it's obviously very difficult to go against that because, you want to go with what your coach is saying, but there needs to be this understanding from the players on the pitch that, right, this tactic isn't working. We're giving free ball to the Ospreys, whose set piece is very, very strong, has been strong this season. They build upon the maul, the scrum, the power of the pack. And you got the likes of Prothero, who's very comfortable with ball in hand as well, who I think has had a brilliant game today. But he's had a brilliant game because the Blues have given him so much space and given him so much free ball. But the Blues are trying to run now. Owen Lane, tackled well by Prothero. Surely it was held.
I would have thought so as well. But the thing that looks for me there, the first pass there, Bevan makes to Ben Thomas, and he stood a good 10 metres behind the gain line. Yeah. In a game where you are so far behind and you've had so little attacking ball, why are you stood so far behind the gain line? You want to be playing flat. You look at the best sides that we've seen this weekend, right? I looked at Dan Bigger earlier on. He took a ball very early on in that Northampton game, and he was a matter of inches away from the gain line. And I mean inches away. Yeah. Whether he plays it or whether he looks to offload it, he is still in a superb position there. 10 metres behind the gain line in a game you are 24-0 down. I just don't get it. Really don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to come onto the ball with momentum as well. If you're playing really, really deep, it's going to take you like 10 yards to get to the actual defence. You want to be hitting the ball hard, getting over the gain line, quick ball. And that's another thing today. Your scrum half, Jones, just hasn't provided quick ball at all, even when the ball has been recycled pretty quickly. Well, hello, Mamos, high ball.
That was nice.
Even when, as I said, the ball has been recycled well, Jones has just stood there and looked at it for a good 10 minutes and then decided to pass it.
Yeah, and this is where you need, and as much as, we have a little bit of a joke between the two of us, Lloyd Williams does bring up, oh my gosh, like.
It's just not clicking.
This is not clicking at all.
Does provide a bit of speed. Like Lloyd Williams, for me, he's not good enough to start for Wales, in my opinion. He's not, and he shouldn't be going ahead of Thomas Williams for the Blues either. But he's a good, solid player. He does a job, but he does provide a speed of ball off the bench. He absolutely does. Let's quickly get to some more of your comments. Sean says you have to find the balance between rotation and wanting to win a competition. You do, and when you're a team like Leinster or someone like that, you have more players at your disposal, higher quality players. So yeah, it's about getting the balance right, isn't it? Luchi asks, who would win between Edinburgh or Worcester? I'd back Worcester at this point. I think Edinburgh are pretty poor. I think they're pretty poor, but they did have a massive injury list going into this game. I'm missing one of the best sevens in the world in Hamish Watson, so that will always be tough. But we're going towards the final 20 minutes here. Game is won for the Ospreys. Bonus point got. But for the Blues now,
I don't see what's left in this game for the Blues to achieve.
Do you just go for it here? You just say, fuck it, let's go.
Even to the point, right? We've got 20 minutes left to play, and we're still trying to play kick tennis as if we're like 2 or 3 points behind. I just don't understand what the game plan is.
It's clearly coming from upstairs.
Yeah. The players just look like they don't even want to attack.
Yeah.
Even Jason Harry's a player who loves to run with the ball, is trying to kick it.
Ooh.
He's lucky there. If Prothero knocks that infield, it's another try.
Yeah. I just don't get this game plan of kicking from the Blues. It's a really strange plan. And again, you're kicking to players like Kai Evans, who maybe not the greatest runner, but he's got a decent boot on him. Matt Prothero's been everywhere today.
Yeah. Do you know the one that makes me laugh, though? We talked about this in the show we did of it, right? It's the fact that there's literally just Pro 14 badges labeling everywhere. This is just literally an extension of a Pro 14 season. Oh,
it's a mini Pro 14 season. That's why when the South African teams weren't involved, I really didn't get the point of it. Obviously, you need to have players fit, players have game time ahead of summer tours and things like that. But, I mean, Leinster are in the semi-final of Europe. You've got Ulster also in a semi-final of Europe, obviously Challenge Cup for them. They're just not going to take this competition all that seriously, although last night they played a fairly strong team. They would have had one eye on the semi-final. They're obviously going to want to win the Challenge Cup more than they're going to want to win this. For me, this is a mini-season. If you're a player and you're like George North today, he's injured now, and it looks like quite a serious injury. We'll have to wait and see what the doctors say on it. But that might be him out of a Lions tour for playing in a pointless competition. Another Pro 14 season. What, a month after we finished the last one? It's just pointless, but there's just too much money in it. Every club has been given, I think, 500k for just joining from South African rugby. And I know that the Ospreys lost 600k over the past 12 months. So that's 100k away from what they would have needed to break even. So it's...
Do you know what the concerning thing is for me, mate? And especially like you look at it today, that George North has played, like you said, in a game that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Is, all the things that we're having to do in terms of the management of the rules of the game and the laws of the game to manage player welfare. What are the people doing that are pumping money in this game to keep the welfare of the players at the forefront?
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, you mentioned George North there. Played in the first half of the season for the Ospreys, played in the Six Nations, then also decided to turn around now and play in this Rainbow Cup. He's playing in probably more games than he would have in a normal season.
Yeah. Nice. It's just stupid. It's the same with obviously football. Obviously, it's a rugby channel, but the Champions League new format just means more games, and just player welfare just doesn't seem to be a thing anymore, which is absolutely ridiculous. And these players are playing too many games anyway.
Yeah,
and too many games are crammed in anyway. There's potentially an injury here for the Blues.
Liam Belcher looks like he's caught his ankle there as he's trying to go through against Sam Cross. Yeah. Oh, poor old Wales women. Just see what Richard put in the chat now.
27 points to 20. Wales women unfortunately lose, but good to see them actually, not sound too harsh, get some points on the ball.
So, mate, I tell you what, right? This is the first positive thing I'll say about the Ospreys all day. I'm so glad to see Bradley Davis back on the field.
Yeah.
I love Brad.
As well coming on. Bradley Davis coming back on. Obviously a Blues legend.
Yeah, mate.
Down at the Arms Park.
I remember going back to the season we made it to the semi-finals of Europe. I was at King's Home the day that we just about made it past Gloucester in what was a stinking day down at it was horrible. We were stood in the stands, and you could see as players were taking steps on the pitch, you could see the squelch marks coming out from their boots. And then Bradley Davis just comes crashing over with minutes to go. Like he was a Blues legend, you know, and his dad still stands by the fact that he's a Cardiff boy through and through, even though he's playing for the Ospreys now. But yeah, I'm glad to see him back playing now.
5 months out of injury, obviously, so good to see him back on the pitch. Driving all here for the Blues. They're going to try
not going anywhere, if anywhere, backwards.
Yeah. Looking the next game, obviously in 2 weeks' time.
Max Llewellyn's through.
Could this be a try for the Blues?
Thank God for that.
And he's going to crash over, and the Blues finally have a score. Lovely line from Max Llewellyn there, and crashing over. Really exciting young centre coming through down at the Blues, and the Blues finally have a try.
That's a lovely line from Max Llewellyn there.
Ben Thomas with the perfect weight on the ball, playing as the 10 there in that position, really. And lovely way to pass. And straight away making a difference. And Llewellyn straight through. Good turn of pace as well.
Mate, quicker than his dad was, put it that way. Obviously, but might have been a bit too young for you, Max Llewellyn.
I remember tiny bits of him, but not all that much. So, you know.
Yeah, mate, put it this way, he's a far quicker than his dad ever was.
Yeah.
But look at that, mate, 24/7. Whoa. Hang on. Here we go. Clip it up, ready. The Blues are going to win.
I'm not saying anything, because if you get another try, it makes it interesting. And we've seen teams come back. I've seen the Ospreys come back against Leinster when we looked down and out, and we came back. But that's straight off from the restart. Hallam Amos there, kicking it all the way. I do think if we get 3 points, it's completely safe. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Mate,
he's absolutely sliced.
It is. Why are you being diplomatic for? You said you want to be all out Ospreys today.
So I'm not going to start celebrating, and then next thing you know, 82nd minute, clock is in the red. We give away a penalty, and I can't. The thing is,
I can't. Hang on. Here we go. Matt Prothero. Oh, mate, I always get frightened when I see Matt Prothero in full flight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's harsh on Ollie Robinson. He's the first man in there.
Referee very quick on that there. Watkin goes.
Even as an Ospreys fan, you've got to say, this referee has had a wonderful game.
Yeah.
He's killed the game at the scrums. Oh, Joe Thomas.
Lovely. Go on, pop it in. Options.
Penalty.
Take the points. Take the points here.
Kill it off, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
20 points. Blues ain't coming back from that.
Kill the game off. Take the points, boys. But the referee today has had an absolute stink. It's not something that you like to talk about, but he has. He's just not had a good game at all.
Absolutely. He's been poo.
Yeah. He's not had a great game at all. If we look forward then, the Blues in 2 weeks' time play against the Dragons at home, 1 o'clock on the Sunday. We're going for the corner here, which is interesting. But what would be the mindset going into that one? Do you think it changes? Do you think you still look to rotate and try youngsters out? Or is it, right, we want to win a game here?
Yeah, I think Dai Young has got to... If he goes into this competition thinking that he's just going to use it as an experimental phase and he's not going to try and aim to win any games, then I just think that's such a negative viewpoint for a coach that's I say brand new, but if you look at the players that are in the Blue squad now compared to the players that he had when he left, there are hardly any, if any, players that are still left. So I just don't see why he wouldn't try and go out and try and get some positivity going in the squad. Because you imagine that it gets to September when the new season starts and his side are coming off the back of 3 losses in the Pro 14, the Rainbow Cup. See, I called it the Pro 14 again.
That's basically what it is, isn't it? So all the Welsh regions play each other, and then obviously, depending on where they finish, because it's a league system this year, I think it'll be top and second who play each other. You wouldn't expect any of the Welsh regions to be up there.
Another penalty to the Ospreys here. Do you know what? I hadn't even noticed the fact that our yellow card had come back.
Neither did I, to be honest. Another penalty.
Interesting one, right? So, Dan Evans jogging across with the ball there. So, Halfpenny's not getting anywhere near the Lions tour. Let's just be realistic before we start off. Would you take Dan Evans on a summer tour?
For Wales, yes. Yeah, I would. So for Wales in the fullback position, you've obviously got Liam Williams. He's going to go on the tour. Halfpenny doesn't go on the Lions tour. Is he still injured?
No, I think he's back playing. I think he's playing Sunday.
Oh, okay. So he's back playing.
I think. Don't quote me now.
Callum Amos, who would go as a winger on the tour more than a fullback. Other than that, it's difficult to see. Does someone like, what's the guy down at Dragons called? Jordan Williams?
I like Jordan Williams, mate. I'll be honest. I like Jordan Williams.
You take someone like a Jordan Williams on the tour.
Maybe
you take a look at him. But apart from that, there aren't that many fullbacks who really are knocking at the door. I think Dan Evans deserves a chance. He's been such a loyal servant. He's worked so hard and never really got the recognition that he deserved.
The Ospreys have just scored again.
Sam Cross.
Game over.
29.
Game over.
12 minutes to go.
He was another strange one, Sam Cross, because he came in and everybody was singing and dancing about him. He had a couple of caps for Wales, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
I think he's had a lot of injury issues.
He looks like he's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Looks very trim. I like you. Halfpenny's not playing tomorrow. However, Johnny McNichol's playing. Now, he was very much involved in Piddock's plans at the start. You know, they played the Barbarians, and that was when his first game. His first game was for the Welsh side. You know, against the Barbars. Do you think if he's back at full fitness, he takes any part in the summer tour?
I don't know, because for me, a summer tour, we're going to Argentina and Uruguay. No disrespect to Uruguay, we're going to beat Uruguay pretty comfortably. Argentina, you'd assume that would be a tougher game, but we went there a few years back and we got some decent wins out there. For me, a summer tour is all about trying different things. It's all about giving youngsters a go, having a look at new players. He knows what Johnny McNichol can do from his time at the Scarlets, from his time playing for Wales. I'd say just take some youngsters with you. Just give youngsters a go. Don't worry about taking players you know all about. But again, people such as, Jamie Roberts, been playing so well for the Dragons over the past couple of years, you'd have to say. But everyone knows what he brings. But does he go on a summer tour? So there's a few names out there that you could certainly look at. Quickly, let's look at some of your comments. Sean Fell suggests that we bring Super Rugby referees in. But we've seen an issue with that where French refs have come in on British games, and the way they referee the game is very differently to the way we referee the game. We saw that against Exeter, against Leinster. Conor Crowley asks, Will there be a watch on for Munster? Yes, there will. We'll go live at about 7:20 for that with kickoff at 7:25. So once this one finishes, you'll load up to that. So make sure to join me for that one. Freddie says Argentina have improved a lot over the last 2 years. Not too sure if they have, to be honest. And the Jaguares, you know, what is going on with them at the minute? They're obviously playing in Argentina. Talks about them joining MLR. If
I got to
that
disagree. I got to disagree on that one. I usually, me and Freddie are usually pretty close on our opinions on that, but I'm sorry that Argentina, if you think about how well Argentina played in terms of the 2015 World Cup, when they took Ireland out and they played Australia in the semi-final, I wouldn't say Argentina have improved a lot. I do feel that their resources have been stretched an awful lot since they brought the Jaguares in, because there's this moral dilemma for players now, whether they go back and play for their home side or whether they go out and just play rugby in Europe. You know, we see a lot of players, of course, they go, of course, Freddie would say that. Best hooker in Montoya. Oh, I wonder who he plays for. But no, I just think Argentina, and especially due to the fact that the Super Rugby, and not so much the Super Rugby, but the Rugby Championship has been affected since COVID. I don't really think you can say Argentina improved. Oh my God, look at the Blues scrum. It's like men against boys this afternoon.
Another advantage, keeping the scrum, take the penalty, someone to the bin.
What's the point, mate? Penalty after penalty. You're 31 points up. I think the referee has got to have some sort of conscience. If he takes another man off, my God, may as well just give up.
Indeed. Calix asks, who was some of the standouts in the match? I couldn't make it. For me, Matt Prothero has been very good today. Kieran Williams has looked decent.
The
ref's had a great game.
Been a fantastic 16th man for the Ospreys.
No, we're being an absolute stinker, but especially for that Ivan Phillips second try. I mean,
mate, he may as well have been in that maul with Ivan Phillips for that one try. He may as well have been helping him push along. Yeah,
he might as well. I mean, it's just not a try, but does it really make a difference? Does it truly make a difference to the result?
No, of course it doesn't.
Exactly.
Ospreys have been by far the better team.
Yeah, but Blues have just had a weird game plan where they're just kicking possession away. When they run with it, they look dangerous, but they're just not doing it.
I still don't understand at this stage of the game, like where, Max Llewellyn, another clean line break. Go on, son. He stepped Dan Evans a treat. That pass looked forward, though, I will say.
We're going to have a look back at this.
The referee's given it. No TMO. I thought that last pass looked forward, to be honest.
We'll see on the replay, but the try has been given and has been converted. So Blues, 14 points to 31.
Another 2 converted tries, mate. We might still be in this.
I'm not saying anything because
Another 2 converted tries. You know, Jeff Bezos turns up and spends
quick. Max Llewellyn,
He's had a good game. I'd be fair. In the patches where he's been given the opportunity to play, Max Llewellyn has been a shining light for the Blues. However,
final pass was off an Osprey's arm.
I think it was, yeah.
I think it was. That try does count. And let's have a look at some more of your comments. David says Jamie Roberts' last caps for Wales, funny enough, was against Simone Tonga in the summer tour a few years ago, doing Lions Tour year to New Zealand.
Oh,
but he has been playing very well. But the thing is, for you, then, this summer tour, is it about going to Argentina and winning, or is it about just giving youth a go?
I think Pivac has always alluded to the fact that he wants to build a squad. He doesn't just want to build a team. He wants to build a squad. And especially considering, 2021 now, we are 2 years out from a Rugby World Cup. This is a perfect chance now to see whether these players that are playing so well at regional level can make it at the international level. So the likes of Ivan Phillips, Kieran Williams, Jack Morgan, it'd be nice to see him go on a summer tour. Before he comes down to the Ospreys next season. I don't see the point of taking someone like Jamie Roberts, because at the end of the day, he's there. You know what he can do. If you need him, then you call him up because you know what he can do. Whereas if you call Kieran Williams up, how do you know he's going to react to the international scene? How do you know he's going to react to the setup? For me, yeah, players like Jamie Roberts, I wouldn't go and renew your passport.
Not
I just
for
think,
like experience on the tour.
what's the point at the end of the day? You know, I think you've got so many players at the moment that Pivac will want to look at. And I'm sure that, you know, you look at the amount of games that he attended, especially in his early months where he didn't have the responsibility of the national team. He was at so many games and he's seen so many different players and what they can do.
Yeah.
Why waste that opportunity to play 3 games against international teams where you can see new players come through? I'm not dead against the idea of him taking players that are experienced. This referee has had an absolute stinker. That is such a good turnover from Ollie Robinson. He's on his feet and then he gets tackled to the floor and he said he's gone off his feet. My gosh, God save us from awful referees.
I've never heard of this referee. I've absolutely no idea who he is. Ospreys going to go to the corner here. Be interested to know what the record win against the Blues is. But he probably won't get it. But
where's he from?
Scotland.
He's from Scotland. Originally, I bet he was born in Mumbles or something.
Let's have a look at some of your comments. How many minutes left in this one? 4
Too
minutes.
many.
So, thoughts on the Northampton versus Leicester match? I didn't manage to catch this one. How was it, Ben? You watched it. Dan Bigger masterclass. Saints getting the win there.
Saints are playing such a good brand of rugby at the minute, mate. They literally, I think they just tired out. I know the Saints didn't lose by a lot. The Tigers didn't lose out by a lot, but they literally just frustrated the life out of the Tigers. I know Jasper Wiese again, Freddie will allude to this as well. My God, that bloke breaks tackles for fun. He literally, he went on one run earlier on. He went 40 metres before anybody touched him. But even though, you know, Northampton had 3 players that they lost just before the kickoff of this game, they lost 2 in the backs and 1 in the pack. You know, Tamana Harrison pulled out last minute with a back spasm. But, my God, they look so good. So good. And their transition between attack and defence is so good. Tigers, it was a bit harsh today, you know, considering how good Tigers have been in recent weeks. The commentary team ripped George Ford to pieces today, saying about the fact that he kicks far too much ball and that although he's really, really good at putting players into space, he's not doing it at Leicester because the gameplay doesn't allow him to do so. They were really, really harsh on it. But yes, it was one of those, I think from the off, Northampton always looked like they were going to win that game. Even though it was at Welford Road, they looked just really comfortable on the ball and straight away, and I think Ben Kay alluded to it in the commentary, that straight away, Northampton put their stamp on the game. It turned into a really fast and open match really early on, and that was something that they didn't want to happen if you were a Tigers fan. But, you know, look at that. Ford had a poor game, dropped the ball 14 times. I don't know, mate. I don't think George Ford fits really well into this Tigers team. I think he fitted all right into the Bath setup because of the players he had around him. I just think he looks really uncomfortable in this Leicester side because he wants to play a completely different way than the players do around him. You know, they've got these strong players, these powerful players around him. Matt Scott, another powerful player as well. Just didn't get the opportunity to play.
No, it's Leicester style doesn't suit Ford at all. I'm dropping a link to Ben's channel in the chat now. Do head over there and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's a link there in the chat. So do head over there and subscribe. Connor asked, when's the Lions team being announced? That's the 6th of May. So I'll make a video on now my 36-man squad, who I think should go. Scrum to the Blues on their own 5-metre line. 1.5 minutes left. How will this impact the next game? Or is it just start again, put a stronger team out against the Dragons?
Well, we talked about this when we previewed the game. I don't think either side would have taken a lot out from it. And all of a sudden, Premier Sport has just cacked out on me, so I can't even see the game now. But I think I've seen enough.
Just before we go on, I just want to say how bad Premier Sports are. And the fact that they have only got the rights to this Rainbow Cup here in Wales is horrific. They are awful.
Yeah.
They're awful.
proper bad. You know, it's the one subscription I can't wait to get rid of.
Yeah. It's not to be thingy bob or anything like that, but whenever an Irish team is playing, they are so one-sided towards that Irish team. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. I'm pretty sure they're an Irish company or something like that. But it is actually ridiculous. Premier Sport is awful. If you compare it, the package that BT offer, and even S4C, I think S4C's coverage of the Pro 14 is better than Premier Sports, and that's for free. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we saw that this game's going on S4C later on this evening, so we couldn't watch it live. But yeah, Premier Sport for me all season have been absolutely atrocious. I said to you, I watched the Blues against Benetton probably about 2 months ago now, and there was no build-up before the game started.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
The game was played. Half-time was full of adverts, and I mean, it was 15 minutes of adverts. Yeah. Then the second half came, played that out, and the game finished right at the end. The final whistle went, and the coverage stopped. They didn't even announce who man of the match was. It's
just awful, isn't it? And
absolute stinker.
The fact that, the Pro 14 isn't on free-to-air TV, S4C have... I think S4C get one game a week. I think that's what they get. Ospreys...
They're allowed one game per round for their Welsh sites.
Yeah.
But simply for the fact they're allowed one game which they can provide English commentary, because obviously it's seen as like counter-competitive. But the Blues get a yellow card right in the 80-minute mark. Oh, I tell you what a wonderful afternoon of rugby for Cardiff.
Harry's is off for the Blues. I mean, I think you just put this in the scrum, go for the line out.
Well, I'd be honest, mate. I thought they'd have gone for the scrum, but they've gone to the corner.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
Parry, just seeing him getting ready for this. Sam Parry, it was an interesting one because you think back a year ago when Wales played that sort of autumn series game against France. Sam Parry was heavily involved, even so much so that apparently he can see the ball down from all that.
Another try for Ospreys.
Mate, you've got to say, even as an Ospreys fan, the referee has been shambolic today.
Oh, he's been awful. He's been awful. And what he's done as well is he's killed any flow in the game, and some of his decision-makings have been baffling. He's almost contradicted himself with a lot of them, where he said, he's gone through the process saying, right, we can't see a grounding, we can't see this.
Look at that.
But we're going to give it a try
Where's
anyway.
that ball down there? At least Sam Parry's got a better actor face than Ivan Phillips did. But even as a Blues fan, have a look at that and see where you actually see the ball down there.
Yeah, it's very true. Referees had...
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't make a difference on the game. But, he's having a look at it. Oh, well done, ref. Absolute shit.
What's the point? What's the point having a look at it, though, from a Blues perspective? Owen Lane's asking to have a look at this.
Oh, the captain's challenge. Oh, we've seen it. I personally didn't see a grounding. I'll be honest. I didn't.
It depends what the question is he's asking. If he's asking if there's any reason why I cannot award the try, or is he saying, right, I want to have a look at the grounding?
But not only that as well, if you look at I can't see the number on his back. I think it's number 18 for the Ospreys. He's blocking Bradley Davis. And how many times have you seen this season penalties being given against sides that are blocking the actual ball carrier? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to just start supporting table tennis, I think.
Oh.
Mate, I'm not stupid.
You got that shirt ready?
Oh, do you know what? I was hoping you wouldn't say anything, but yeah.
Next video.
I was hoping today was going to be a day like you had for Leinster against Ospreys. I thought I was going to be able to clip this up. I put it on my YouTube clip. First one I've done. Absolutely no chance, mate. Jesus Christ.
No chance indeed. So, Ben, we'll have to get the Ospreys shirt out. They're still looking at this.
Oh, it's no try. Finished. Oh, but it's a penalty to the Ospreys anyway, just to be kind. Oh, Joe Thomas, do us a favour and tap the ball and kick it out, bud. I can't be arsed watching this anymore.
Neither can I.
Stinker. This is an absolute stinker towards the end. You've got to say second half. Oh, he's kicking it for the posts. What?
Oh,
As if, oh my God. Welcome to the Rainbow Cup, folks.
The mini Pro 14 season.
The biggest form of shithousery you've ever seen in World Rugby.
Yep.
Oh, well, we can't actually do the tournament we wanted to do. He's kicked so badly tonight. What on earth was that?
There we go. That is the full-time score. Ospreys 36, Cardiff Blues 14. That is the final score today. That's just how it has been. Not a great game of rugby. Ospreys deserve to win. Blues, let's be honest, were pretty poor. Well, not pretty poor, was shambolic. Referee was great. And not the greatest game.
Referee, what do you mean? He was number 24 for the Ospreys, wasn't he?
Oh, sorry. And Ben's looking forward to getting the Blues, the Ospreys top on for the next video we do together, which I very much look forward to. And I'm sure you guys are in the chat as well. We're going to leave it there. Before we go, make sure that you're subscribed here on the channel, that you've liked the stream as well. Ben's got an announcement to make.
Can I ask a question?
Go on.
Does Monday's podcast count as a video?
No.
Oh, come on. Give a guy a break.
Nah, it doesn't. Yeah, by the way, Ben just said it there. Podcast. I'm starting a new podcast on the channel. It's called the Breakdown Podcast. I did put it on my community tab. First episode will be out on Tuesday night, and I've got quite a few guests booked in over the next few weeks. Some former players, current players, and me and Ben are going to be doing the first podcast on Monday together. So we're looking forward to that. And make sure as well to head over to Ben's channel and subscribe to his channel as well. I'm going to drop a link to it in the chat now. Head over there, give him a subscription. He's just lost against the Ospreys. He has to wear an Ospreys shirt, for goodness sake. So head over there, show him some love, and subscribe to his channel as well. He makes some great content. So head over there and subscribe. We're going to leave it there, but I will be back in probably about under 10 minutes, really, for the Leinster against Munster watch long. So do join me for that. I'll see you then.